I've made just about every mistake in the book you can think of when it comes to diet, whether it's carb loading first thing in the morning and then wondering why I'm sluggish and my brain's foggy for the rest of the day, under eating and wondering why my workouts are flat and I'm feeling weaker with less energy, under eating protein and wondering why I'm not growing, or overeating, then wonder why my abs are going away, or even choosing the wrong foods for my body and then getting bloated and wondering why my gut is having issues. I've tried animal-based. I've tried doing basically a liquid diet with protein shake with every meal. I've tried dirty bulks. I've tried clean bulks. I've tried super minimalist diets. For a long time, I thought that there was just a perfect diet out there, along with just having perfect discipline. That had to be the answer. It had to be something wrong with my discipline, or it had to be just a better diet out there somewhere that I would come across. But eventually what clicked for me, it wasn't the discipline, it was structure. It wasn't a perfect diet universally, it was what worked the best for me. The biggest shift for me came when I could actually dissect what I was eating, break apart each macronutrient, understand the role it's playing for my diet, my performance, my energy levels, and my recovery, and utilize it accordingly. Each macro plays a certain role. They're not all equal. Once I assigned a clear role to each macro, everything else calmed down and fell into line. So in this video, I want to give you the framework that allows me to lift relatively heavy, run far, and stay pretty darn lean year round with minimal effort, along with maintaining my productivity and energy levels for work because I'm working all throughout the day. The base of everything, the foundation of everything, is protein. Every single meal is anchored with protein because I've found that's the easiest way to stay consistent without overthinking every single meal. Protein is what keeps muscle on my frame. Protein is what allows my body to repair itself after the workouts. Protein also promotes overall satiety and fullness so that I'm not constantly having cravings throughout the day. And a rule of thumb that I follow, and you'll find a bunch of different stuff, whether it's a 0.5 gram per pound body weight, I do a gram per pound of body weight, and if you're cutting or bulking, you can do a gram per pound of goal body weight. So if you're trying to get to 190, set your protein target to 190 grams of protein. One key distinction that I've made over the years after trying all the protein shakes, all the protein bars, I'm very intentional about where my protein comes from. I mostly prioritize animal-based proteins. Animal-based proteins like eggs, ground beef, fish, they're super dense in micronutrients. And that's a lot to unpack for this video, but they're really key supporting actors for a lot of your bodily functions like hormone production and a lot of other key roles. And I prioritize animal proteins not because plant sources or protein powders are necessarily bad, but simply because animal-based proteins are super dense in micronutrients that my body needs, like creatine, B vitamins, iron, zinc, choline, the list goes on. It's also key to note that protein from animal-based sources as well as the micronutrients are far more bioavailable for your body, meaning your body absorbs it way easier than it does the supplement version or even like protein powder. So all that to say, when protein quality is high, I don't really feel the need to rely on supplements as much because natural food does a better job and your body appreciates it more. I'm also super gut health conscious. And when you look into the gut, you'll see that it's referred to as the second brain, even by like Johns Hopkins University. So it's not just about shoving food into your gut to digest. You have to be aware that your gut is home to 100 million plus neurons, nerve cells that communicate back and forth with your brain, affecting not just your digestion, but your mood and your energy levels as well. This can even go as far to influence how we're thinking and how we're feeling, which is why I always am super heavy on whole foods. Your body appreciates that more than processed garbage. You'll notice it in how you feel and your ability to think as well as your energy levels. Because when my gut feels good, everything else just functions well. I noticed that protein powder causes a lot of bloating. So do protein bars for me personally. If they work for you, more power to you. I'm just telling you what's worked for me. The next pillar is carbs. I know a lot of people avoid carbs, like low carb diets. I certainly don't avoid carbs. I just use them with intent. Carbs are gonna be your fuel or your energy, right? So these are super important pre and post workout to give you the fuel and then replenish your glycogen stores after you expend all of that fuel in the gym. Also, giving your body carbs before and after the gym helps blunt the cortisol or stress response you get from lifting, which can help with your overall mood and how you're feeling. I tend to not eat carbs first thing in the morning simply because I notice that carbs can give me a bit of brain fog and I really value my mental focus in the morning and when I'm working. Since I lift later in the day, having my carbs not necessarily in the morning works for me. I can wait till later in the day to start dosing my body with carbs to make sure I'm fueled for my workout. Carbs are what also are gonna give your body a nice pump, you know, the veins and stuff whenever you're in the gym. Protein is simply a non-negotiable, and carbs are more of a lever that I can play around with to boost and fuel my training as well as help recover in some fashion. But outside of training, I don't force carbs just to hit like some arbitrary number. In terms of carb sources, I personally prefer fruits, honey, and sweet potato. For the same reason I prefer animal-based proteins, because these forms of carbs are the cleanest, most pure forms of carbohydrate. Processed carbs tend to make me sleepy, cause brain fog, and overall cause bloating for me. So fruits, sweet potato, honey, rice here and there when I'm bulking, those are the carbs I tend to stick with for just the highest performance and just feeling the best in terms of my energy levels. I just want to quickly throw in there, if you have carbs in the morning and it works for you, don't change anything. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. I just personally feel much sharper when I anchor my breakfast with proteins and fats. The proteins and fat combination just helps with overall satiety so I don't get hungry while still keeping my mind sharp. It's just something that I've learned from paying attention to how my body responds, and that's the thing, everyone's body is different, so pay attention how your body responds to your diet. Put fats at the top, towards the top, not because they're the least important, but simply because animal-based proteins here at the base often are great sources of fat. Eggs are a great source of fat. Ground beef is a great source of fat. Fish tend to be great sources of fat, especially omega-3s. So I don't really have to put much effort into getting my fats when I'm having animal-based sources of protein. Fats are certainly not evil. You should certainly not avoid it. Fat sources that I consistently eat, butter, avocado, egg yolks, some bacon here and there. Fats are not evil at all. You don't have to avoid them. Just dose them properly because they can be calorically dense and they can kind of add to your total calorie total. But that aside, fats support your hormones. If you're feeling flat or like your testosterone is low, lean into some healthy fats because cholesterol is a backbone of your testosterone production. Along with that, fats are good for helping your joints feel good and overall slowing your digestion. Whenever you include fat in a meal, that meal is gonna digest more slowly, which can help with more fullness and kind of lasting for longer throughout the day. So I don't rely on fats for performance. They're more of just a supporting actor. Protein is the base, carbs are my lever for performance, and fats are just another supporting actor to boost my hormones and help with other recovery fashions while also keeping me full. Top of the pyramid, we have supplements. Why? Because it's the cherry on top. Supplements should not be necessary. I strongly advocate for a whole foods diet that are micronutrient dense so that you really don't need supplements. Some of my personal favorite supplements are magnesium glycinate for sleep. I like ashwagandha for cortisol suppression and overall kind of like indirectly boosting testosterone. I've tried other herbal supplements like Tongkat Ali, those are solid. You can also do creatine. Creatine is a great supplement. The list goes on, really depending on your body's needs. I keep it super simple. Magnesium glycinate, ashwagandha, some beetroot powder as well before the gym to help with my pumps. But that's about it. It's a cherry on top. Supplements are not to be a foundational pillar, but just to be a cherry on top once your diet is super well-rounded. And obviously all of these this entire pyramid is gonna contribute to your caloric total. Calories, you shouldn't stress about it too much. If you're trying to gain weight, eat in a surplus. If you're trying to lose weight, eat in a deficit. If you want to maintain, just stay at your maintenance calories. Don't overthink it. Calories are super simple. Calories in, calories out. When your calories are quality, everything feels better. How do you make them quality? Utilize this pyramid. Once I stopped trying to micromanage everything and chase the next diet or try to figure out what works for me and just kind of focused on each of these levers and paid attention to how each one makes my body feel, everything else just fell into line. And nutrition stopped feeling chaotic. My protein stayed consistent, my carbs had a clear purpose, and my fats were just the supporting actor whenever I needed them. That's when my body started to respond well on a consistent basis. That's when I found myself having stable energy levels in the gym, steadily gaining muscle while also staying pretty lean year round, and overall just supporting my lifestyle without overthinking or overcomplicating. Now, I don't second guess any meals. I can eat intuitively without overcomplicating or tracking every little thing. This isn't about eating perfectly. It's about eating in a way that supports your training, your lifestyle, your energy levels, while also making sure that you feel good in the end of the day. Hopefully this video helped. I have a lot more content like this on what I eat in a day on my Instagram. Check that out. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. I would appreciate if you could drop a like, subscribe. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.